Welcome to the Happy Beyond Fit podcast with Maria Browning, former synchronized swimmer from Colombia turned into a lifestyle entrepreneur. Get ready because in today's episode, we have the one and only, the original Aquaman in the Zumba world, Richard Gormley. Yes! He has been a Zumba instructor since 2010, has been a Zest for, I believe, 14 to 15 years, teaching Aqua Zumba, Zumba Kids, Zumba Gold. He is also a Aqua Zumba Jammer. And now, starting in 2025, he is a Strong Nation Master Trainer. He has been featured in several Zumba videos. He's also a yoga instructor holding yearly retreats for several years. He is also a husband, an amazing father, an amazing friend, and one of the most beautiful souls I've ever met in my life, one of my closest friends. I am so excited to allow you guys to get to know one of my besties and to fall in love with him and to hear his story, his beginnings, and his very remarkable biography of greatness. Enjoy Richard Gormley. Let's start by acknowledging the big elephant in the room, which is the fact that in the Zumba world, when somebody says Richard Gormley, immediately everybody thinks of what? What would you say?
Aqua Zumba.
Yes! So you are officially the Aqua Zumba person, the Aqua King, the Aquaman. But I think I know a little bit more about this, but not too in depth. But I would like for all of us to find out, when did you become Aquaman? Because I know it wasn't just Zumba. Were you born with this condition of the water, or like, when did you start being drawn to the water?
And you know what? We were going to do this earlier, and I'm so glad we're doing it now because I'm actually just getting out of the pool. Tuesday night is our family swim night. So water is my happy place. It's always been my happy place. Like my earliest memories is being in parent and taught, or being like a baby swimming. And my mom would always keep a dry spot on her bathing suit during baby swimming lessons. So if my eyes got splashed, I remember having to go wipe my eyes on my mom's bathing suit. So I think I must have been 2 or 3 years old. So just like born in water, loved water. My whole family swims. We always lived around water, either East Coast or
Where?
Canada. So I was born in East Coast, Canada, New Brunswick. So right on the Atlantic Ocean. And then when we were 5, I moved to Fort Myers, Florida with my family. So 20 minutes away from the beach. So every weekend, whether it's Canada or Florida, on a nice sunny day, we always would go to the beach. Always had pools around in our neighborhood and our community. And that's where I met a lot of my friends that I have now throughout my life.
Did your mom enroll you on swimming lessons at an early age? Because that was my introduction to the water. I was a very curious child, and I was getting in a lot of trouble when I was just 7, 6 or 7. And my mom will have to hear complaints about me playing with all my friends in the neighborhood, getting in trouble. It was innocent. But anyway, my mom being a single mom, working all day, she did not have the time to have to deal with this. So she needed to keep me busy. So then she enrolled me in swimming lessons just for me to learn how to swim. And then when the course, it was like a month long, was over, she was like, I need to keep this child this busy. So then she forced me into synchronized swimming. I actually wanted to get in the diving team, but then she looked at it and then she's like, that looks very risky, very dangerous. I don't have the time to deal with this. How about these girls? Look at them. They are so pretty, because the synchronized swimming team was practicing. So I was like, no, I want that. And she's like, no, you're going to be better for this. And then so she forced me into it. And that's how it all started. So how was it for you?
So I actually started very late because we just always had water around. So we always would just swim, like play games, like be in the water, chase each other, play tag. So I never really learned how to swim like in a structured way until I actually started high school. And
Wow,
the summer
shocking.
before high school, I did like, there were 12 levels. And I think I started since I was like, I don't know, 13. They put me in like level 6. And then I learned like the front crawl, back crawl, breaststroke. And then the whole summer, that's what I wanted to do. So even my brothers and sisters and I, we all kind of started swimming. And so I was in like level 6, and my brother, who's 5 years younger than me, was also in level 6. And then we worked our way through the levels. And I was like, yeah, a teenager. And then from there, once I got to the highest level, they were like swim teams. So I joined the high school swim team. And that's when I started getting involved more with lifesaving, lifeguarding, because I wanted to work while I was going to school. So I got my first job.
Pausing here. So how old were you?
I guess I would have been like 14.
Okay. And out of your own initiative, you wanted to become a lifeguard because you wanted to start making money.
Exactly.
Why did you need to make money?
Because I knew when I was 16, I wanted to buy a car.
Oh, did you know which car you wanted?
Yeah, I had it all picked out. Like, it was at the used lot. I would walk by it every day. I was like, that's the car that I want.
What was so special about that car in particular that you wanted it?
I think I just wanted like the freedom, the independence to be able to move around by myself.
Are you the oldest child?
Yes.
Okay.
So when I turned 16, needless to say, I was not allowed to buy a car.
So you started saving money since you were 14.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you save enough money? Were you able to accomplish that goal?
Yeah, like I really wanted to just be able to like do what I wanted to do. And also like by lifeguarding, it was with a lot of my friends from the swim team. So a lot of the times it was like staying after practice and, staying till 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., like little shifts, 1 hour here, 1 hour there. And I really enjoyed just like being with other people who loved swimming and fitness, really.
So were you able to buy the car at 16?
No, my mom wouldn't let me.
Until when?
So she was like, you know what, it's not a good idea to get your own car, but like you can take the van whenever you want, or, we'll keep practice driving together. I mean, looking back, like I wouldn't want my little brother's going to be 16 next year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like driving himself around. For me, already at 16 sounds so young, but when you're 16, you want to be the first one to get your driver's license, I guess.
Were you into parties, into that environment?
Yes and no. I really even now, I love the idea of a party. I love the idea of going out. And then I get there and I'm like, well, we can go home now.
You're so cute. So you were always like that.
I guess so, yeah. This is a full circle moment.
You start your first job as a lifeguard. For how long did you do that?
So I did that. I still have my lifeguard cert up to date. I have to renew it in January. I was like, this will be a fun high school job. Now it's my full-time career 20 years later.
Yeah, but with different branches of it, different specializations, specialties about it. Okay, so you did it. And when was the next job after that?
So that's really when I started getting more into like swimming lessons and teaching like kids how to swim. And then when I turned 16, there was like a job that opened up. Well, I was lifeguarding a lot of the fitness classes. And I was always really interested, like, oh, that would be fun, but it's all girls or it's all women. I don't know. And then the opportunity presented itself. And when I was 16, I started teaching Aqua Fitness.
Like, who taught you? You were just making it up?
Exactly.
Were you looking at other instructors while you were lifeguarding and that's how you learn? Or
Exactly. Yeah. I was just taking notes and I would write down, like because at the time it was tapes. So it was like a lot of work to make a new playlist because you would have to like listen to the music on the radio, record it, put it onto a tape. I'm sure there's easier ways, or own the tape of that CD.
Wait,
whatever.
I thought you were way younger than that. I thought you did not grow up in the era of the cassette. How old are you?
The cassettes. I'm going to be 36 next month. Yeah, well, as you know, pools don't always have the most up-to-date sound systems. So there was probably CDs at the time, but I think it's just that speaker at that pool happened to be hooked up to a tape player, and nobody knew how to get it to a CD player.
Which music or which choreographies did you start with your first Aqua Fitness lesson?
So I took the same tape that, her name was Muriel, and she was teaching every morning, like 9 to 10 a.m. And I was watching every class and I was watching, okay, first song, it's called Snowbirds. And I was writing down like, okay, she does like tapping the shoulders and then like pumping the arms and then putting them up high. I don't know if she had any formal training either, But she had 50 people in every class, and I could see, well, this is what works, and this is what these 50 people expect whoever takes over the class.
Okay. So did she know you were using her music?
Yeah. Yeah. She was like, great. Like, take it, figure it out. Cause I think she wanted to like have the summers off, or she was doing the mornings and I would do the evenings with a couple of other peers, like same age as me. And so we just imitated and mimicked the best that we could. And then when we finally got a CD player, we were able to like bring other mixes and other songs and more of our own tastes.
You started at 16 teaching Aqua Fitness. And when did you actually get proper training to be an Aqua Fitness instructor?
So actually my last year of high school when I was 18.
Okay, 2 years. That's good. And you have plenty of experience by then, so you were able to apply everything that you learned.
Or forget it, because then I realized when I did the training that, oh, okay, we should bring the arms under the water, or we should do an appropriate tempo for water.
So you realized you were doing it all wrong for 2 years.
Exactly.
Oh, how cool. So why did you think people kept coming to your class? Because they didn't know any better? There wasn't anybody better trained?
This is a small town too in like rural Canada. So I guess it was the best thing going. And they were like, well, if it's not you, it's going to be another one of the lifeguards. So they were just supportive and, went with it, followed along.
It was your charm. I'm sure that's where I'm trying to go. I am sure you were always adorable and you had this charm that everybody's just fascinated following you while you're teaching an Aqua Fitness class. So anyways, so then at 18, you decided to become officially Aqua Fitness trained.
Exactly.
And then where does life take you after that?
So then I started university. And when I went to Dalhousie University in Halifax, I was studying kinesiology, which is like the science of human movement. And while I was studying, I also wanted to continue teaching. So I applied and I auditioned to teach Aqua Fitness in the university. And then there was many other, instructors, many other backgrounds. And it was very like competitive because there were classes back to back. So I quickly realized, okay, I need to adapt or I need to improve here. And that's where I started to become aware that, okay, it's bigger than what was happening in my small town back in high school. And now it's the real world. And
so Rich, choosing to study kinesiology was an easy decision for you because you were already very passionate about movement and exercising?
Yes. I always loved moving the body. I always knew that movement in sports made me feel good. And I sort of just had to pick something.
Okay.
Because when you're 18 years old and you're going into something, I was thinking, well, I want to do something science-based, or maybe like teacher-based, but then I was thinking, well, it's easier to maybe do like a Bachelor of Science and then decide maybe later to do medicine or therapy, than to do like a Bachelor of Arts and then be more stuck into teaching philosophy, things like that. So I just really got lucky. I randomly chose something. It worked for me. I enjoyed it. And
your plan was to pursue something farther than that.
Definitely, yes.
And what stopped you from doing it?
Well, that's when I was graduating from university. That's when I fell in love and met the Zumba people like you.
So Zumba stopped you or made you divert and continue to pursue. Maybe you will be a doctor now. I never knew this, that we changed your path.
Well, while I was studying, I was very passionate about my studies and I loved what I was learning, but I wasn't a very high performer. And in Bachelor of Science is very competitive to get into medicine, or I applied for physiotherapy. I applied for many things and actually I didn't get in. So I would have loved to, but I was multitasking. I did a year abroad. I was teaching like 17 Zumba and Aqua Zumba classes a week. So everybody on campus knew me. They knew I was like the Zumba guy, the Aqua Fitness guy. So I really enjoyed, I was really involved with my community, but in terms of marks, I was really just trying to pass. I was, studying as much as I could, but also saying wow, I really want to go to this Zumba toning training in Toronto next weekend, or, go to this masterclass or event. So I was already leaning into more animation and, making maybe the fitness thing into a career.
So when you discovered Zumba and you became a Zumba instructor, that was your last year in university before you graduated?
Actually, no, I was in my third year.
So you had So you had how many more years to go?
Yeah, so I was halfway through. So
A quick reminder that if you're enjoying this podcast, please click on follow on Spotify or subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of these amazing episodes that I am bringing to you weekly. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the show.
I did 2 years, and then in that summer is when I went to the AEA convention in Florida, and that's where I met you in Aqua Zumba, and that's when I said, wow, this Zumba was fun, because Zumba Aqua, it was called Zumba Aqua
Okay, so
back then,
I
and
know
it
that
didn't
many
exist.
of the people listening to this podcast know your story already, if they follow you, if they are your friends, or they have taken trainings with you. But for those that come from my side and they don't know anything about you, then can you please quickly brief us through how you discovered Zumba?
Yeah, so I discovered Zumba at Aqua Zumba. Zumba was actually piloting a new program, and there was Maria Browning, Beto Perez, Mimi Adami, and Joy, and Tony. And I was at this Aqua Fitness convention doing the things that I'd been doing in the last, 4 or 5 years, and really integrating and, doing the jumping jacks and deep water, shallow water, fitness. And then this new brand came in, and they were like, hey, this is Zumba. And I was like, wow, what's Zumba? So the first time I saw it was in the water, and I was like, wow, that was so cool. And then there was like a Zumba party that night with Beto, I think, and you. And we're like, oh, there's going to be like a Zumba party. And like, oh, wow, you can also do this on land? Like, it also is something you can dance without the water. So yeah, I really fell in love with the aqua part of it, and then the Zumba part of it. And when I got home, I just kind of started looking up everyone on Facebook and looking at the website. And when I got back from that conference, actually the next day, like I was on Zumba.com, and there was a training in like Athens, Greece, London, England, Miami, Florida, and 3 hours away from where I was living. So I got back from Florida with my mom. We came back to Canada. I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, there's a Zumba training 3 hours away tomorrow. Can I take the car and go? And she was like, yeah, go for it. And it was sold out. It was 3 hours away. It was with Julie Kelly, it's my Zest. And she was training Jaime Farfan, who was going to take over Canada. And so I got it was like a 60-person training. I was the only guy with 2 amazing master trainers. And I was like, wow, this is going to be huge.
Then
so I
after
did
that,
Zumba.
how soon after did you take the Aqua Zumba training?
So actually, the program hadn't been formalized or created yet. So I think it was coming out later that year. And I mentioned as I was checking in, they were like, how did you find out about this training?
Further, I love it that you mentioned this, because on my side of the story, so Richard took the first ever Aqua Zumba class. The program had not been put together. It happened in May of 2008? 2009. And we actually launched the Aqua Zumba program a few months ago at convention in summer. So we still did not have materials. We had not taped the videos. We did not have the manual. We did not have a training, but we were just like literally testing the waters. So we pretty much did not know what we were doing. So I am so surprised that you coming with all of this experience teaching Aqua Fitness classes for so many years, and you thought that our class was appealing. So what was the thing that was the most appealing to you? Or was it that we seemed to be having so much fun? Because we were a lot of presenters. Elisa Stone was there, Tony Wheat was there with Beto and me. So what was the part that you liked the best?
I think just the vibe. Like, you looked cool. Like, you were like eating your lunch together, and I was like, I want to be at that table. They had like the Zumba backpacks and their Zumba pants. And I was like, I want some Zumba pants. Like, it just looks so cool.
Well, in the Aqua Fitness world, it's easy to stand out as the cool one, I guess, because it's not like a fashionable industry. So I guess, yeah, just coming up with cool cargo pants and bright colors will make us look more cool. So you actually had to wait until we launched the program. Did you come to that first convention when we launched the Aqua Zumba program?
No, because I think it was at the old venue. And so by the time I became a Zin member and did my training, I think it was like already sold out. Or it would have been like 3 months after I became an instructor. So I just, as a university student, it wasn't a priority. So I didn't have the money to go, I think.
Okay, so when did you end up taking the aqua training and with whom?
So I took it with you at the Zumba convention a year after that. You and Tony did it in 2010.
You waited all this long, or you were already kind of like improvising teaching aqua Zumba classes?
So my mom, who is in Florida, she had done the training. This is really bad. I don't know if I should say this on the record, but she actually copied the CD and DVD and mailed it to me.
Look at your mom.
So actually, I don't think she could. She copied the CD, but she couldn't copy the DVD. So I remember she sent it to me, and I had like 2 weeks, and she was like, "Then you have to mail it back to me because I need it because I need to make my class."
So who started teaching first, aqua Zumba, you or your mom?
Legally, my mom.
Ah, okay, but it was you because she lent you the materials.
She lent me some material. Yeah.
So did you actually use our choreographies? El bombón asesino.
Sí, bombo asesino, la ventanita, para pa pa para, and the African drums that was like 9 minutes long. That was only jumping.
Oh, thank God we no longer give that material.
But it was great because I only need to learn like 5 songs and you have a whole class because every song was like 9 minutes long. So it was great. But at the beginning, yeah, I didn't know. I was coming more from freestyle, so I didn't know a lot about choreography and structure. And I remember even when you were doing like combinations, like I was like, wow, that's so cool. They do like 4 cross-country skis and 2 jumping jacks. Like, wow, that's genius. Because I was just so like, I don't know, using a timer and not really, I called myself like a slave to the music. And now I proudly own it when I say it, but the music is everything.
Oh, so we actually were the first ones to show you cool combinations and cool moves in the water.
Totally, yeah. Because before I was just not as structured and, I could probably do this. And, I had like a playlist, but a lot of it, my music was 128 beats per minute.
But
like
wait,
pre-mix fitness music.
But you went to the AEA conference in Orlando, so you didn't learn anything, or we caught all your attention. You couldn't learn anything from all of the other presenters?
That's it. But they teach you that, and like that's what I love about certifications. Like certifications are so good because they give you so much knowledge. And like if anyone wants to learn more about becoming certified in Aqua Fitness or anything else, then I highly recommend doing certifications and trainings. But the problem with certifications is they teach you, how to teach, but they don't give you what to teach. They don't give you the playlist, the music, like the actual content to teach. So for me, I was like, wow, this is actually the first program that's giving me content, that's creating for me. So for me, it was very revolutionary because, of course, before I could take a little bit from this session, a little bit from that session, but I was still doing more freestyle, less structure than what I do today.
You're right. And back then, videotaping was not that easy. So for you to go
it was
to
illegal.
another session, yes, it was illegal. And they would totally see you with a full-on camera trying to videotape because we didn't have the facility of the phone. So it's not like now we squeeze it in or we're still like trying to videotape some material.
Put it in a shoe.
Exactly, on the pocket. That's right. So how long had you been Aqua Zumba licensed before you applied to become an AquaZest?
So actually at my training at the Zumba convention in 2010, I was like right up in front. I was like not hiding in the back. There's probably 100 people in the training. It was pretty big. I was wearing like pink shorts and a blue Aqua Zumba women's racer back. And I was right in the front row. And at the end, I was getting pictures with the presenters. And Tony was like, here's my email. Send me an email. And I'd love to talk to you. So Tony was actually the one who saw me. And then I stayed connected with him. And then he said, well, you still have a year of university. Finish your degree. And then let me connect you to Maria and let me connect you to Joy. And then let's get you down for an audition. So it was actually Tony who started everything.
Because he remembered you from the AEA conference when we launched the program. And then he saw you now at Zumba convention becoming an instructor. So he was like, yeah, this kid is a gem. Like, we should totally think about him. But then we were hesitating because for those listening, just so you know, Richard was very young. He was like 21 years old. So when we hired him, he was and I think you still have the record of the youngest person to become a Zest. Are there younger Zesses?
Yeah, there's a few.
Who?
There's a lot of new Zesses.
And they are
last week
younger than 21?
no, but when they became a Zest, they were older, but maybe like, let's say someone became a Zest now, but they're 25. So they're younger than me, but
Yes, yes, that's what I mean. By the time you became a Zest, you were the youngest person we hired to be a Zest. Because before you, it was like Lindsay that was 23 when she became a Zest. But you were only 21, so that's why we were concerned. And that's why Tony was like, okay, dude, finish your bachelor's first before we get you distracted with all of this. Because we knew we were going to put you to travel the world immediately. And then when you became an AquaZest, I trained you. So you joined me in Kentucky. I
yeah,
was teaching a weekend of B1 and aqua training. So I was training you that weekend in a little town in Kentucky. We had a lot of fun. And then after
Glasgow,
that,
Kentucky.
Glasgow, Kentucky, that's exactly right. What a memorable week. That was awesome. Okay, so we hired you. And which territory did we give you? Was it only Canada?
So no, I actually didn't get really anything right away. I was like kind of subbing. Like whenever I got hired, they were like, well, why don't you go to North Carolina? Because there's never been a training there. Why don't you go to Montana? Because there's never been a training there. And so I was going to like just random places around the US. And then the next year, I think that was probably like in the summer. And then by the time January hit, we got the new quotas. And Kelly Bullard, who was doing a lot of the Northeast, was more interested in doing international and going like to Eastern Europe, things like that. So I actually got a very good territory right away. Then I was like in like, I think I had from like Massachusetts to Georgia, basically the whole East Coast.
And that's when you ended up never going back to Canada because you were always teaching trainings in the US. Or how did you do it?
Yeah, exactly. Like I saw my parents who like we've been back and forth all our lives, but my mom and my dad are now full time in Florida. So I always knew like, okay, when I finish school, like I want to go back to Florida and I want to like chase the American dream and try to make it happen in the US. But like Fort Myers, I was like, oh, that's great, but it's more of like a seasonal crowd, older adults. So I was like, well, I want to live in Miami. And then I had the excuse of the office being in Miami, even though I never went to the office. But I was thinking, okay, let's go to Miami and be close to the Zoom home office.
So you actually moved to Miami?
Yes. I drove all my stuff down and I moved in 2011.
And you had been teaching Aqua Zumba trainings for a few months already. So you were already
Exactly.
like making money. So you knew you could afford to live in Miami on your own.
Exactly.
Okay. And
The golden days.
You rented an apartment or a room what was your first step?
Yeah. My first apartment in Miami, I love it. I walk by it every time I go. It was in South Beach, 8th and West. There's like a Whole Foods there now, but it was, just like view of Miami,
a full-on
sunset.
Apartment on your own, one bedroom or
Just a bachelor's. Yeah, no, not even. Just like literally a studio.
In front of the water?
At the Bayside, so the other side.
Okay.
But yeah, Bayside, Miami. Yeah, it was great.
Amazing. For how long did you live there?
So like a good South Beach gay, I think I lived there for 1 year, 1 or 2 years.
That's the average? You guys moved to another place?
That's the average.
What's the story?
We always, that's everyone always moves around. Like they'll do like a year in like South Beach and then like a year in Fort Lauderdale and then a year in like somewhere else. So it's fun. We like you move around, but I really loved living in South Beach. When I visit South Beach now, I hate it because I can't park anywhere. Everything's expensive. Like everyone's trying to sell you a menu. But when you live there, like I just had my bike, which probably got stolen several times, but I would just drive my bike to different Zumba classes and teach my way around the island. And I would, if people were like, oh, we're doing this thing in Coral Gables, I'd be like, Coral Gables, that's so far away. Like, I'm just going to stay in South Beach. Like, it was great. I loved living there and teaching in all the boutique studios.
For those listening, Coral Gables will be how far from South Beach?
Well, it depends on the traffic. It's probably 20 minutes, but if it's at 6 p.m., it could take hours.
Yes, that's right. So I'm always fascinated by the fact that you were so young and you were able to take off in such a professional way and like being financially independent and successful when you were only 21. I'm like blown away because I've shared this before in other episodes that I felt like I was totally lost in my life until I turned 26. I didn't know what to do with my life. So to see you so driven and so, yes, the water is what I want, and then kinesiology, and then become a lifeguard, and then have another job, and then start teaching aqua fitness classes. And like, you were already like oriented towards financial independence, I guess, because that's why you started working, to be able to claim your freedom, right? So, but the fact that you had it so clear at such a young age, and now like my son is about to turn 21 in a couple of weeks, and like like the difference is day and night. Like, how did you have it all so put together at such an early age? Like, did I train you when I trained you to become an AquaZest? Did I train you on how to talk to hosts, how to find hosts, how to negotiate facilities? Did I do that?
Totally. You did. Like, I don't know if you checked, but like now we could talk, like now you're one of my closest friends and I love you so much. But when we started, it was very clear that it was a professional relationship. Like you were like, you don't send any email without copying me. You don't confirm any host without getting back to me. If one sells out, you come back to me and then I tell you if you can post another one. Like it was very structured, which I think is, if I didn't have that, I would have probably been like, yeah, let's party in Miami, party in New York, or, like, I think I would have maybe got sucked into the Miami thing. But even you were like, yeah, you can't go down on a Tuesday. Like you need to be good for the weekend. Or like,
Oh, wow.
in a
No,
like
I
a
was so
big
strict.
sister way.
I
Uh,
I think it was just a byproduct of me being so stressed out about being the leader of the Aqua Zumba program. I thought it like if I fail, the whole thing goes down on me. It's going to be my fault. So I better do something good. And those were the most stressful years of my life. But I was so strict. I was like very bitchy with all of you guys. Like I trained you all of the Aqua and I rejected many others that did not pass. They thought they were going to make it becoming an AquaZest. They taught their first training. And I was like, nope, you didn't do what I told you. Nope, that's not good enough. That's it. No more chances. Next. I was like very, very strict. So I am glad to hear, this is the first time we talk about this, that me being so strict was actually an excellent foundation for you to build your success and your professional life. This is awesome. You're welcome.
Definitely. Thank you. Definitely. Thank you. Thank you. And I think too, like the fact that uh, image, I think, was so different then too, because it wasn't about what we posted on social media, because Instagram was coming up, but it wasn't. It was more just like private and fun. But it was more like, oh, if you go out and you see someone from the office, or if you go out, to party and you run into Zin members, like at convention, then just be mindful, be careful, because that's the image you're setting of yourself, of the program. So I think having that discipline and structure was foundational to be able to grow and it be sustainable and never crash, if that makes sense.
Well, I think on that side, I was really just trying to help you with your personal life, because I remember Tony and I were very concerned that, of course, you have always been so good looking, and we knew that all the gay community in the Zumba world was gonna go crazy when we introduced you on your tiny speedos teaching aqua Zumba, being by the pool all day. So we knew that you were gonna be a target for everybody at Zumba conventions. So I think that's why we were like, no, you better behave. You don't go to parties. You don't mingle with the gym members. You gotta keep up with an image. Don't lose your job. Because we kept telling you, if you become a diva, I swear we're going to fire you. We're not going to renew your contract. So I'm sure we put a little bit of fear in you and you needed to know how to behave. But see, it turned out great. I feel like I was helping you to transition into being a child and becoming a young adult, which is not easy, especially when you like have a lot of attention, like what this is. And back in the day, like all of our trainings were like super big. They were all sold out and we were teaching trainings back to back, back to back. So it's like becoming that popular so quickly at such a young age, it could be a little overwhelming. And some people have not been able to handle it very well. Some other very good looking guys, one of those you already mentioned him, that became a little too crazy with all of this success and popularity in the Zumba world. So see, so we didn't want that kind of example to happen to you. So I am glad
It's
you
all
listened
making
to
sense.
your mother. Yes. But then you also started, because you were based in Miami, you also started showing up at the Aqua Zumba filming, because back in the day, that was the time that Zumba was filming the quarterly videos that were released to the Aqua Zumba members. So you showed up to all of the ones that were available, obviously. But I think the first one was the one that Tony was doing, right?
Yes. So I think Tony was supposed to do like other ones. And then there was some kind of, we needed like an understudy or a backup in case Tony gets nervous or sick or
Oh, is that what
a
you
cat
thought?
fall from the sky. So what we were actually
Not the
doing,
real story.
but
So here's the
what we
story
actually were doing,
for everybody.
okay.
We were scheduled to film Aqua Zumba volume, and Tony Witt was going to be the first AquaZest other than me, because at the beginning, only the leaders of each of the programs were filming the videos for the specialty. So I got to film 4 volumes, and then I was like, no, guys, let's just give the opportunity to the other amazing Zesses. So Tony Witt, which had been my right hand in creating, shaping the Aqua Zumba program, he stepped in and he was going to film that first volume. And his story is that I took him to dinner the night before the filming to a Cuban restaurant, and that he got food poisoning. He ended up throwing up all night, having diarrhea and throwing up all night. So he was super weak the next day. And the next day, surprise, Richard Gormley is here because he was just avid to learn and to see how it's done in real life. So while Tony is freaking out because he's like, I don't have the energy to teach this directly under the sun at the sun with 200% energy, then I'm like, okay, dude, here's the plan. I'm going to have Richard memorizing all your choreographies in the back room. And then you just do one song, just do one. And then don't worry, this kid will absorb all of those choreographies in a second. He'll be ready and he'll take over and he'll teach the rest of the song. You just do one. And he's like, okay, only one. But I feel like I'm going to pass out because he kept throwing up. My story is that I think he was so nervous that regardless of the food, he was just throwing up because he was nervous. Because teaching Aqua Zumba is not that easy. And like doing it in front of cameras is nerve wracking. So anyway, he did one song. And then I was like, okay, do you think you have it in you to do just one more song? And then Richard will do the other 8. Don't worry. He's in the back room learning them all. So in few words, we kept you the whole day sitting at a table practicing choreographies, memorizing choreographies to be the one doing the choreos. But I kept pushing Tony one song at a time. And I actually made him do the whole filming. So he did his whole volume and you didn't need to come in and save the world. But we thought that we were going to switch last minute and that you were going to end up being the one on that video. So this is so cute because you thought that that was the plan for every video, that we will always have somebody on standby.
An understudy. Well, it makes sense, right?
Did you end up doing an AquaZine volume on your own?
Yes. So I was set to do the one after that, and it was supposed to be co-teach with Tony. So we were meant to he was going to do his volume, and then the next volume we were going to do one together. And
And then
then
what
I
happened?
ended up doing it. I ended up doing it on my own.
Because he probably ended up throwing up all night again. So you had to do it.
I'm not going to say anything on record. You have to get Tony on here and then tell his side of the story in next week's
Exactly.
episode.
Exactly. At some point, I'm going to invite Tony to be one of my guests. So he'll have his chance to defend himself. So anyways, you ended up doing which volume of AquaZumba?
Volume 9.
I think I remember that for a while you didn't have a home base. Like you were traveling the world so much that you actually like did not have a place to live anymore. Was it true? And for how long did it go on?
Yeah, correct. Well, like I said, in Miami, I was like moving every year. So I was like moving in with friends and then moving out and then moving to a next place. And then one time I was just between 2 places. So I put my stuff like in storage and in my car. And I was going, I think, to Russia, to China, and to like an Asia tour. So I knew I was going away for like 1 or 2 months. So I was thinking, okay, if I can save rent for 1 or 2 months, then I'll have $2,000 in my pocket. So like 1,000 a month, whatever. So I was like, this is a good strategy. And then from wherever I was, I just ended up like keep going to the next place. And even if it was more local, I was like staying in Atlanta, and I was like, well, I love Atlanta. I've been here 20 times, but every time I come, I go straight to the gym and then I fly straight back home. So why don't I hang out in Atlanta for a week? So instead of paying a rent an apartment in Miami, I was paying Airbnbs and just staying, like traveling my way up and down the coast, and a lot of internationals. So I actually like ended up spending, I think, 1.5 to 2 years doing that. And that's when I became a dad. And I was like, oh man, I should probably really have an address to put on a passport application.
Okay, so since now you're getting into another territory talking about being a dad, so let's quickly do a recap for those listening. At what age do you realize that you have the clarity that you are gay?
One of those things I think that's always been, like, I think even as a kid or being really little, just remembering like, oh, I really want to like play with that kid because I think he's cute. He's a boy, like I've always been attracted to like male beauty since I was maybe like 6, 7 years old.
But when do you put two and two together and realize, oh, that makes me gay?
Ah,
Or there's not such moment? Because I
no, there's
remember
no
that
like,
moment in my son, in Nick, it was when he was 10. And when he told me, Mommy, I think I like boys because I don't feel for girls. I think they're beautiful, but I don't feel for them what I feel for boys. Does that make me gay? And that was his realization at 10. Of course, he had always been like that. So I know I'm not trying to imply that something happened and magically changed you and made you gay. But like, do you even remember a point in life that you were like, okay, then this is who I am?
no, I remember like finding out that it existed. Like there was like a TV show or something like when we were at like in like the second grade. So yeah, like 8, 9 years old, and thinking like, oh, that's a thing. Like, cause they're like, oh, it's a TV show and it's two boys who are in love and they're gay, and gay means two boys are together. And I was like, oh, that kind of, that could be a thing. But then there was like more like, oh, but it's a bad thing. It's a naughty thing. Or like there was a gay teacher at my middle school and people were like, yeah, but careful, like he's gay, like people were very like, they're still very like, I mean, it was be like 90s, early 2000s. So it was very, I think, taboo or up and coming at the time. So yeah, I wasn't able to be like coming out at 12 like kids can do now. I think I waited until high school to really identify with it.
Okay, but was there ever a moment that you came out to your parents, or they just simply knew it was a very organic thing?
Yeah, in high school, I was dating a guy who lived far away, and we were just like taking the bus to see each other and meet up, and we were both in musical theater and like band stuff. So if there was like a theater weekend, we were trying to, go to the same theater camps and things like that. And yeah, one day my mom just asked me like, is this guy who you always like to go to theater camp with, is he special? Are you together? And so she asked me, and I said, yes, that's the case.
Ah, so she asked you. That is not like, hey, mom, I need to talk to you. I need to give you the news. There was never a need for that.
No, exactly. It was just like general curiosity. I think for like just being able to have certain conversations that you have with your teenage kids, making sure that she was adapting her approach to her audience.
Yeah, your mom is so beautiful and so open-minded. So I am sure, obviously, she knew it all along. It was just like giving you the freedom to be, because, hey, yes, that's your boyfriend, and just we can talk about it, right? Was it the same as organic with your dad?
Not as much. My dad was always thinking it's going to be a phase that goes by. And my dad, like even now, because I have a family and everything, he had a hard time understanding that I could still be gay. And then I got married to my husband last year. And now finally, like if I'm on the phone with my dad, he's like, oh, and say hi to your husband. So finally now he gets it, he understands, and he's accepted it. But it definitely took a long time. I'm just like, let's not talk about it, but we know, but maybe it'll change, but maybe not. But since we don't have a lot of quality time together, let's just not make an awkward quality time that we have together about a weird subject. So we just always avoided the subject and never talked about it.
Is your dad many years older than your mom?
No, he's 2 years older than my mom, but they've been divorced since I was 12. So
Okay. No,
they've
I thought that
really grown
maybe it was
apart.
an age thing, that it was harder for your dad to deal with or digest all of these, especially because it's confusing that all of a sudden you end up getting your best friend woman pregnant. So let's jump to that, because I remember as you mentioned at the beginning, our relationship, Maria brought in Richard Gormley, was very professional, and like I was your mentor and your coach. But then over the years, since we started traveling and meeting each other in different countries, co-teaching in different countries for Aqua Zumba, then we became closer and closer. So I remember when we were in Italy, that we did the Sardinia trip. We were teaching at the Sardinia conference, and you kept noticing babies on the beach. That's all you noticed. Wherever we went, you were like, oh, look at that guy with the baby. You noticed the dad holding the babies, carrying the babies, playing with the babies. It was all about that. And I remember I was traveling with Nick, and Nick was like about 10. And so I was like, Rich, you are calling it to the universe that you want to be a dad, that you want a baby, because you were just like melting to every single baby you saw with their dad, obviously.
But
And
the
then,
universe kept on like sending these babies to me. Like every time I booked a flight, like I was like, all right, I'm in 36A, and always in B and C, there was always cute baby and mom or dad. Like for years, like the universe was like throwing these beautiful children at me. And so yeah, I was like 100% sure, like I definitely want a piece of what they're having.
were you always inclined to, oh, I want to be a dad? Or all of a sudden you just decided you were melting to all babies?
I think it was, yeah, it was like when I was like 25, I was just like, oh, I really want to find first a partner who I could have a family life with. So I was thinking like, okay, first I should have the partner. I need to find the husband. But then like, if you think about two guys, it's like, well, let me think if I find the perfect guy, well, I want to make sure he's the right guy. So like, let's date this guy for at least 5 years to make sure I can marry him. And then once we get married, like, let's, start adoption papers or surrogacy or whatever, which could also take 5 years. And then I was like, man, I don't want to be 40 having my first baby. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I was thinking, I want to have it sooner. I want to have it now.
Oh, but you didn't know how you were going to make it happen, because obviously this was never in the plans. You just decided at all costs, I'm going to make a baby right now. And then magic happened. And Marlene was pregnant. For everybody listening, yes, that's exactly how it happened. Miracles exist. And the Holy Spirit came to Marlene and said, you are pregnant. We've put the seed of Richard Gormley in you. And then, so this was like the best deal ever and the best miracle. So then your bestie is pregnant of you. And then you guys had Tilly 8 years ago, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So his name is Tillian, and we call him Tilly. And he is one of those celebrity babies that you never see his face on social media, because
Yeah.
very famous people do that to protect the identity of their kids. So when you see Tilly on social media, he has a smiley face on him.
Well, actually, you
But
don't see him now anymore because I always ask him, I'm like, hey, can I post this picture of the back of your head? He's like, no. I'm like, can I post it of the back of your head with a heart on it? And he's like, I'm good. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you're not consenting to this, then. So yeah, the day he
so
lets
awesome.
me, I will. I will
Okay.
gladly show him off. But yeah, we take his privacy very seriously. So
For everybody that's listening and you're wondering how Tilly looks, he looks exactly like Rich. So I put it on the tiny, like very blonde, and like it's like seeing you on him is so beautiful. It's tiny little Richard. Okay, so then Marlene was based. She has always lived in France, and that's the reason why
exactly.
you moved to France, and that's now home, right? When she gave birth.
Exactly. Yeah, like I was thinking, like we hadn't formally arranged anything, but I was thinking, okay, I'll come back and take care of this kid maybe once a month or every 6 months, or send him birthday cards so he knows he has a dad. But then when he was born, I was like, no, I need to be there for every moment. Like, I don't want to miss any of this. So when he was born, I was able to get my French not nationality, but French residency. And so yeah, so the rest is history. I've been here in the south of France, in a tiny little village, definitely not Miami, but yeah, beautiful, beautiful scenery, beautiful people, amazing food, and just like such a lush, awesome
Look
place
at
to live.
you. You're just trying to mention the cool things and beautiful things about France because deep inside you wish you would be in Miami.
Especially this time of year. It got dark at like 4 p.m. today, and yeah, we went swimming. But I was like with my little kickboard, like shivering, like oh, because
Do
Miami
you
is like the most beautiful after hurricane season in November.
No, and I know you were like one with nature when you lived in Miami. But like, have you realized we now live reversed lives? Like when we started our friendship, I never had the time to even go to the beach. I was like in mommy mode, raising Nicholas. He was so little, so I was like busy, 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 busy with him, and like trying to squeeze in my travelings and traveling with him and stuff. And you were at the beach every day. Every
Every day.
single day, yes, and taking your time traveling, enjoying the world, friends. And then now it's like backwards. You're now on daddy mode the whole time. You don't have much time for yourself. And I am at the beach every day. I'm
But
living a richer
that's my
life.
inspiration. I know, right? But I can like look for like that's why I can enjoy now. I can enjoy the daddy time now and the family time now because I know, oh my gosh, like if you think about it, Nick is only like 12 years older than Tillian. So it's like, wow, like when I met you, Nick was like a baby, almost like 5, 6 years old, right?
Yeah.
So like when I see like, wow, just 10 years later that he's cool and independent and has his games and has his life, I'm like, wow, I need to enjoy the baby stuff, well, the kid stuff, the this third grade homework because it goes so fast, and that's what everyone says, right?
But do you see yourself living in Miami again? Is that a goal of yours? Or you really don't care anymore?
Yeah. Well, now I have like I've always wanted to like live in Asia as well. Like I'd love to live in a big city like in
Where?
Bangkok or Seoul, for example, Korea. But now it's my life doesn't just depend on me. Now I have to convince 4 other people of every crazy idea I have because Marlene has a partner and I have a partner and then we have Tilliot. So I was like, guys, let's go live in South Korea for a year. You can teach French. I can teach English. We can teach sports. Like we're going to make money. We're going to have a great time. And Tillian's like, I can't leave. I have judo and tennis. And, and they're like, what do you mean? We just built a business here. And my husband's like, no, we can't. So it's like, now I have, and they're all, if you go into astrology, they're all rising Capricorns. So you have 4 rising Capricorns who are like home, like grounded structure, and one like Aquarian heart, like traveling soul. So it's always like, I'm going to try like for my birthday weekend, I always make them go to like a ski chalet or travel or like just drive an hour away just to like make them do something else. But yeah, they think they need a little bit of me. But if they had if we had 5 of me in my family, it would be just madness. It would be crazy.
Of course. So pretty much you're gonna have to wait until Tilly is a young adult and he's on his own. So then you try to move on and continue to live your life.
That's the plan, but I'm realizing that the plan always changes because I'm like, yeah, dude, you have 10 years, and then when you're 18, like you're gonna be in the world. He's like, no, like look, like you're like I know like adults who still live with their parents and they're not married, and like look, they have a 40-year-old at their house, the neighbors, and it's like people don't just throw their kids into the world apparently at 18 years old anymore. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe
That is
20.
the thing with the new generations. It's becoming harder and harder for young adults to take off on their own. So now the new norm is that everybody just goes to college and goes back home to live with their parents because like they cannot afford the lifestyle they're used to on their own with a job that pays pretty much nothing because you have no experience. You're a young adult. So yeah, nowadays the hard thing is to get the young adults on their own. That's my experience now. So yeah, seems like Tilly's gonna be with you guys for a long time, and I'm glad you're enjoying your dream life there. So tell me, how hard was it to find a partner in life because you were already a dad? like how much harder does it make it for you to be in a relationship if you already have a child, and that kind of like makes you be in this relationship with Marlene because she's the mother of your child for the rest of your life. So how does it work?
Yeah, like it just in the community and traveling and kind of being in the dating scene, it was pretty fine. Like I was like, getting to meet other guys and stuff. And they'd be like, oh, well, come visit me in France. Oh, I have a kid. And they'll be like, oh yeah, dude, maybe we'll see. So, yeah, it was
So you
just
did
very
feel
hard.
the hesitation, or like they would no longer be interested in you when you said that you have a kid?
Well, and just to like, I think my lifestyle was very hard to date as well, because when I'm home, it's like full on dad mode. And when I'm traveling, it's because I'm working. So it's very hard to find like time to invest in having a partner. So I pretty much like was like, well, if it happens, it happens, but forget about it. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna, make a dating or having a partner a priority. And then of course, whenever you give up, that's oftentimes when love comes to you. So
Is that what happened? You were not interested in finding anyone anymore?
yeah, it was just like I had an open heart. If it comes, it comes. But right now, I knew that like I had a partner at the time when I decided to become a dad, and then that changed. So I was thinking like, okay, well, I don't want to drag anyone else through anything. So I was like, well, I'm getting all my love, and my heart is full of just being a dad. So, right, especially when they're so young and they need the parents so much. I was really not looking for love or to be in a romantic relationship, and I really didn't feel like I needed it.
Okay, so I am now thinking that maybe it's not the same case as I am divorced. I have this young child, and then for if I'm trying to get in a relationship, then it may be hard for my new partner to deal with my ex and knowing that we were together at some point. But I guess in your case, that's not an issue at all because you were never in a relationship with Marlene, and like you guys were not romantically involved. And so that jealousy that could happen from your new partner towards your ex was never there. So I guess on that note, things are easier to handle, right?
In some ways, but also in some ways, like because like my previous partner, he could see like that I would like the thing is like when there's different kinds of love, of course, and every kind of love is endless, and you can have family love and romantic love and different kinds of love in your life. But I think my ex partner, he was thinking always like, okay, if you have to choose, you're always going to choose your baby over me. So it's not a jealousy of like, I'm going to lose you. It's just a jealousy of always being second place. And so luckily I found someone who doesn't see it as a competition, who sees it as, like love multiplies, and the more people, the more it is. So yeah, Daniele, of course, is, we met at a Zumba event in 2018.
You
And
met
so Chilean
Daniele at a
was,
Zumba event? What was he doing at
we
a
did,
Zumba event?
well, I invited him.
Okay, so that's not how you guys met. Let's
No,
not
so we
get
did,
confused.
no, he doesn't,
Was it
yeah,
on
for
an
the
app?
record, he doesn't, never been involved with Zumba. Yeah, we did our yoga teacher training at the same school. So I'd followed the yoga school and all my yoga teachers on that account. And I noticed this very handsome Italian man, like doing incredible, like things with his body and just an incredible practice, an incredible level. So I just started following him, and we started exchanging messages and chatting a little bit. And so I was at this Zumba event in Club Med Opio in the south of France, and he was in Italy, not too far away. So I was like, why don't you come have lunch at this Zumba event? Basically, it was like the Club Med was amazing. There was like 2 or 3 Zumba classes a day. I was very laid back. So I was teaching like one class every 2 or 3 days. So I had a lot of time. So I was like, I have this place like taken, like I have a +1 available. So come over and let's have lunch and see how you feel. So I came over, had lunch, ended up staying a few days, and yeah, we decided to keep in touch.
Well, your lives were very similar, so it was not that hard for him to assimilate all your traveling, your constant traveling and performing and being on stage, because he also comes from a totally different world, but also performance world, right? So what is it that he
Exactly,
was
yeah.
doing when you met him?
So when we met, he was still doing, still quite involved with Cirque du Soleil. And he does sway pole, which is pretty cool. If you intrepid listeners, like, yeah, I'll post a video of it sometime. But he's amazing, just like acrobat and dancer. So he was traveling the world. I was traveling the world. I had this connection to France. He loves France. Like, he lives very close to the border in Italy, and he always loved coming over to France. So he's like kind of always knew he wanted to live in France, speaking for him. But so he was, yeah, interested in keeping in connection. And because he was traveling so much, I was traveling so much, we were able to say, okay, well, I'm going to be in Singapore. Well, I'm in Thailand. Let's meet up in Asia. Well, I'm in Belgium. I'm in Germany. Let's meet up in Berlin. So we were able to meet up, like coincide. He did most of the effort because I was limited on time, but he came to see me at several Zumba events and aqua trainings and things around the world. And then we were able to have our kind of get to know each other time, always abroad in a different country, which was cool, but it's different meeting someone, you know, on a honeymoon where no one has to take out the trash or empty the dishwasher than living together. So we were like, okay, well, let's see, like, we have this amazing relationship when we're away, but let's test it out when we're at home. And then the world sort of shut down in 2020. We didn't have a choice and we moved in together, and yeah, it just worked. It just was always natural and never had to justify or explain or think too much about it. It just worked. Like, I don't really remember being here without him. Even my son doesn't remember me without Daniele. So yeah, we're both going on the school trip on Thursday to the cinema. So he's totally like a bonus parent. So I appreciate that about him.
Yes. So are you guys the same age?
Daniele's 2 years younger than me.
Okay. And for how long were you guys together before you got married? Did you meet your goal of dating the guy 5 years to make sure he
We
was the
did.
right person? Yes?
We did 5 years later. Well, it would have been 5 years like in the October. So we got married like a month or two earlier. But
Okay, perfect.
we wanted
And
the best weather.
yes. And you guys have been married for 2 years, right? Is it 2?
It'll be 2 this summer. So a year and a half.
And what is he doing now?
So
I
now
mean,
he's
not
teaching
now,
fitness full
but what
time.
does he do
Now
for a living?
he's reading a story to Tilly. If they're reading a chapter of Harry Potter without me, they're going to be in big trouble. But he works in fitness as well, so he's teaching yoga.
Okay. And Tilly lives with you or Marlene or every other day or every day different house, or how do you guys work that out?
Well, because we're all 4 parents, we're all fitness instructors, so the best time for us to teach is in the evening. So so Tuesday, Thursday he's with us, Monday, Wednesday with them, and then we do our best to alternate every other weekend. And then of course there's holidays and summers and things, but we always try to make sure that each person gets to do like the trainings they want to do, the work they want to do, the fun stuff they want to do, but at the same time it also gets a little bit of Canada life and traveling life, the best of every world.
And Marlene lives walking distance from you or driving distance?
Walking if you're not in a hurry, but it's like uphill. So we say walking distance, but maybe once a year we walk. That's be a really nice day. Walk? Like 20 minutes.
Okay, it's still walking. Yeah, a very intense walk.
It's just like, it's very sweaty. Yeah, it's like straight. Like, it's better to walk from her house to my house because then you can just go downhill. But yeah, to go to her house, it has to be like warm enough that you don't get cold or windy, but also like not too hot that you're going to just be totally drenched and sweaty.
So you guys speak to Tilly in which language?
So he does English with us and then French everywhere else.
Okay. And how's your Italian going? Because he was trying to learn Italian with you, right?
Yeah, we're motivated. We have like 3 weeks before. So Daniele's family is from Italy, and they'll be here in 3 weeks. So we've got that little like that pressure. So yeah, we Duolingo a little bit together, but he's way better than me. He can sing along to Italian music. He knows, like, he can understand a lot more than me because of his mother tongue being French.
Daniele is totally fine knowing that Tilly will always be your top number 1 person and that he has to take the second place?
No, he doesn't make me choose because I always choose both.
So you do think they are on the same level?
Definitely, yeah. It's just a different kind of love. Like, Tilly needs me in a different way than Daniele needs me, and Tilly can teach me things that Daniele can't, and vice versa.
That's very interesting because, like, I love from my partner that I've been with for 8 years, Raul. I'm very proud of my relationship and so in love with my captain. He has always known that he takes second place. And I love it that he never expected to be number one. And it never made him feel insecure or less than. He's like, how could I expect to ever be on, like, obviously, that's your son came out of you. So obviously, that's your number one. So he has always been fine with it. And we always like a very clear when we're talking, like, yeah, Nick is my number one. And then, but it's not in a way like, oh, you're not as important. So this is very interesting that I hear you saying that, yeah, they are both number one. See, you see life in a different way than me.
Totally. And then I'm the one who gets insecure because, for example, we just came back from the pool. We met each other there. We took two different cars. And then when we were coming home, like Tilly and I picked him up and drove him there. And then when we were coming home, he was like, all right, see you at home, Dad. And he's like picking Daniele's car. Like the music is better in there. So I'm the one who's always getting second picks.
Yeah, whatever. I'll prove it to you that he's number one. If you guys are in an accident and you can only save one of them, husband or son, which one are you gonna save?
I don't think I need
I
to answer
proved
that
my point.
question.
I proved my point.
I have two kidneys. Just take them both.
Never mind. I love the way that you see it. That is just different kind of love. This is beautiful. So now that we gave all these background stories to everybody to get to know you better as the Aquaman, now we can move on to our normal friends conversation. So since the year is almost over, tell me what has been the biggest takeaway from 2024 for you? What has been the best thing that happened to you this year?
I was thinking about this today because we're going to make vision boards probably sometime over the holidays. And I know what I'm going to put on my vision board. It's going to be a question. It says, how hard can it be? Like, how hard can it be? And I have one of my best friends in New Zealand. She says this for everything. And she's crazy. Like, she just invented the world's largest slip and slide and just like put it in a city hall, and it has a huge TikTok following. And like all summer, she's just going to run the world's largest slip and slide down a hill in New Zealand. Like, she just has these great ideas, and her mentality is, how hard can it be? So like Maria says, like, I want to start a podcast. Oh my gosh, but I don't have a mic. I don't have a setup. I don't have this, but how hard can it be? And you figure it out, you make it happen. So I'm like, okay, I want to make, Strong Nation trainings or AquaZuma trainings happen in France. How hard can it be? And in France, there's so much administration. So this, like, it is very hard. And a lot of the time it's like thinking of documents and, how am I going to go through this and that and that? But at the end of the day, if you can get it done, how hard can it be? Once it's done, you can only get payoff. There's nothing to hold back, right? Like, if we want to buy a house, like, okay, but I don't live here. I don't know like how to renovate. I don't know how to take a wall. How hard can it be? Like, YouTube tutorials. So this is my takeaway from 2020. I think my whole life, but going into 2025, I'm just like, that's my question. Like, how hard can it be?
Quick pause to remind you that if you want to help me to continue to grow this podcast project, please share this episode with somebody else. If you shared every episode with somebody, you're helping me to expand and to get more followers so that I can continue to bring weekly amazing conversations that not only entertain us, but allow us to expand our perspectives in life. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the show. I was about to ask, is it because you have noticed that you have had your own limitations to get started in new ventures, and now you're trying to retrain yourself? Because it doesn't seem that way. It seems like you have always been like into how hard can it be? Let's just go for it.
Yeah, but I think also, like, when it comes to like new things, I don't know. I like to stay in my comfort zone. So yeah, I'd like to, challenge myself and like when something seems hard, like the last few years, like every year we've organized a retreat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but we have to figure out all the flights and the details and the places and, like figure out how to get a sound system there or like just like things like that. And then when you sit down and do it, you're like, this is actually very easy. Like, I love planning events. I love planning travel. I love connecting with other people. I love negotiating even. Like, it's fun. So that's my takeaway.
So you have always been this way. It's not nothing new. The how hard can it be is nothing new. pretty much lived your life this way? Or is there anything that you know that you have not given yourself the chance to do? And that's why you're reminding yourself now that how hard can it be?
Yeah, like if I say this on the record, then you're going to come back for me like in a year, like, have you done this thing yet? But yeah, I think
Do it.
I was
Do
listening
it.
to Mauricio's episode that he did, and he was like, I want everything to be perfect. And like, I don't post a video if it's not like in the right frame, with the right light, with the right choreography, with if I mess up a tiny bit, or if the people behind me don't know the choreography. I'm the opposite. Like I just posted, so I bought my domain for my website 6 years ago. And I've been every year in December, I get a Squarespace Wix email like, hey, you need to renew your domain. You need to renew your website. And I'm like, I just
Same.
like, okay, pay like $300.
Same.
And I'm
I've
like,
never used
you know
it.
what? I published it. So today I went and published it, like inwaterfitness.com. Don't go see it yet because it's not done and it's not perfect. And like the links aren't integrated yet, but it's like, if it's not out there, I'm never going to like be like, oh my gosh, the thing is out there and I need to take care of it. Like I need to put it out there and then I think tweak and learn as I go. Because when I try to make it perfect, I just let it go or push it to the back. And then I pay a whole nother year of Squarespace and still don't have a website, So I think I need to like push it into the world and then, see how it goes. And who knows, maybe like have my own logo, but maybe it's not the logo, but it's the one I'm going to use this year. I have, my plans and my projects, and maybe they're going to change, but at least they're out there. At least it's happening.
This is so cool that I had the same takeaway from Mauricio's conversation. I mean, I learned many other things, obviously, but this was one of the main ones because I saw myself reflected in his perfectionism. Because for so many years, I was like that. And we kind of mentioned that, like, for example, when I was training you to become an AquaZest, I was like so strict. Everything had to be so perfect. And the image and like keep up with the image, everything on point or don't do it. And like, so, and then years later, I realized I was just missing out in life, trying to make everything so perfect or else. Like, what's else? Like, what's going to happen if you're not that perfect? Like, nothing. At least you get to do some things. You're not stopping yourself from just because you feel this need to be perfect, right? So it was also a beautiful reminder for me because if I don't pay attention, I tend to become that perfectionist person again, because that has been my program in most of my life. This is a new me for the last 3 years. So I agree that I am also reminding myself, and in particular this year, not exactly with the same words, how hard can it be, but let's do it and let's just have fun at sucking at something. Yes, of
Yeah,
course, the beginning is hard, confusing, and you cringe at yourself, looking at yourself doing it not well, but it's part of the process. And then you get to feel proud of yourself when you don't cringe that much anymore, right? So I love
totally.
that we have very similar attitude this year and for the next year. So that's the how hard can it be? But my question was, what's the biggest takeaway? Something that happened in 2024 that you're like, oh, wow, this moment made my 2024 or this situation or this accomplishment or
I think so. I prepared a lot for ZinCon this year, and I had a masterclass planned. And then usually every year I'm very lucky, and this year I got rained out. So I was very like attached and excited, of course, to present this masterclass. And then I didn't do it. So I was like, wow, like I can put all this work into something and then it doesn't actually happen. So I think just being like with Zumba, with everything else, like not being so attached to everything, like, oh, like the babies that I created, like the choreos that I wanted to share with the world just didn't get seen. No, it's like, well, no, I created them for jam sessions that already got to be seen. So like letting go of the attachment to the performance aspect and just like creating things and letting them go. Like, okay, like this masterclass maybe is never going to be presented. That's fine. Now I'm going to create one for next year. And if I get to do it, great. If I don't, then that's okay too.
can it be that this year you are breaking identity molds? Because, we tend to identify ourselves as, oh, I'm a kinesiologist and I am an AquaZest and I am an aqua jammer. And like maybe you're trying not to have those identities anymore, but just be. And that's
Maybe.
part of the reason why now you are venturing into becoming a master trainer for Strong Nation? Like, break the mold. Like, yes, I've been considered the Aquaman for Zumba for so many years, but like it doesn't have to be, I don't have to limit myself just to that. Same as I don't have to like
Totally.
hold on tight to my new creations, my new choreographies, like let go. So maybe that was the biggest growth that you had this year, like to allow yourself to just be many things instead of just one identity.
I think you hit it on the head. Yeah, that's definitely like, especially now going into Strong Nation, like you mentioned, like the process and the training is so detailed, which I haven't had this much detail oriented like critique since you trained me 10, 15 years ago. So it's fun again to be like in something that I think I do really well, but there's so many ways I can improve. So going back to being, in learning phases and getting comfortable with things and learning technique and training my body to be able to do harder things. And I was thinking about like identity because I was thinking of making a new Instagram to have like the Richard, like Aqua Richard, and then make like a strong fitness movement Richard. And I was like, no, because this is part of what I'm doing now, and this is what I'm evolving, and it's gonna be part of what I do. And if maybe some people from really like Aqua won't be as interested in what I have to share upcoming in high intensity workouts and movement and other things on land, but maybe I'll be able to captivate a new audience too. So it's just sort of, opening my perspective and hopefully not limiting my horizon.
I love it that you came to this conclusion because I've been going through the same thing. Like, should I just create a new account to promote the episodes on the podcast? And I'm like, no, but this is just the part of the new me. And those that have been following me for years, if they don't like it, and now I'm promoting not only dance, but now my podcast, then they can just unfollow because we all evolve in life. We all change. Like, thank God we change. We need to change, right? Like, I don't ever want to stay the same. So, and there's many accounts that I used to follow years ago. And when I see something in the feed, I'm like, why am I following this person? Like, it doesn't serve me anymore because I'm no longer interested in this. I'm sorry, but I'll unfollow. So it's nothing personal. Whoever doesn't like it, they can unfollow. But whoever starts coming in is the new crowd that embraces all of this side of us, that we're no longer limiting ourselves to be this perfect and just in one thing. So see, another thing that we are like going through the same thing, coming with the same conclusions. I love this. How do you think your life is about to change now that you're going to start teaching Strong Nation trainings? What do you foresee?
I foresee already this week, I'm noticing, because my first training is coming up in a month. So I have to I'm getting very serious about the structure of the training and the techniques and just taking a lot of time to just film some of the stuff that we have to do for our own personal trainings. And I'm noticing, oh my gosh, like I have an Aqua Zumba jam session this Sunday. Was that a good idea to have all this and that? So realizing that now I have to choose, like, okay, I have to do one really, really good Aqua Jam and have that choreography down so that I can put it aside and then switch my desk over to work on something else. So I think just having to compartmentalize and make choices. Like sometimes maybe I won't have as much time to do as many choreographies, but I'll be able to maybe bring some of the strong elements or fighting elements into those aqua choreos that I am doing. So just, keeping on evolving, but making it work everywhere, but also making sure that I don't overwhelm myself, because when I have a lot going on, then I do a lot, but not a lot well or finished. So I need to pick and choose and prioritize.
So I know that you have been teaching Strong Nation classes for, I don't know, years, and you love teaching it. And that's the reason why you were like, well, seems like a logic decision to become a master trainer, because I already teach it. I love it. And also I know that we all know, because it's very apparent, that you're in very good shape. Or if you're not, dude, how do you keep up with that gorgeous looking body for 15 years? Like, I don't even want to know. I prefer to think that you're like slaving in the gym, lifting weights every single day. So let's just leave it at that. But anyway, I would think that becoming a master trainer was going to be like, oh, easy transition. You already know the quadrants, you know what you're doing, you've been teaching it in class. Then why is it like taking so much for you to teach a training?
I think because I thought I knew everything really well because my students really loved me and my students love my classes and they come back. But then when you compare yourself to, wow, someone who has a black belt in martial arts, or if you can just have like 10% of that or 1% of that, I would love to present it. But also just like there's so many, like in Zumba, in an Aqua, we can be like, okay, well, Richard does it like this, Maria does it like this, and another instructor does it like that. And it's okay. We all look a little bit different, but we're all doing the same move and we embrace it and it's beautiful. And in Strong, there's that element of style, but there's a lot more precision and execution in moves, where if you come from like martial arts, or if you come from even fitness, you can see like, okay, that person is a martial arts person, or that person's a fitness person. Or so I'm trying to find my strength. Like, what can I bring from?
How is it going to affect you and you teaching a training if you don't look like a legit martial artist? Like in my head, I'm like, why would you need to look like one? You're teaching a move, and in real life, nobody's going to do it like a real martial artist. So, like, what's the difference? Like, why is
Yeah.
it that important? Why are you guys stressed so much about looking like a ninja?
You know what? Honestly, I'm having a lot of deja vu, and it feels like Aqua Zumba in 2010. Like it feels like the new, like, you know, like little sister. Like we have Zumba, the big brand that, you know, people know and recognize, and it is always successful and continue to grow. And then we have smaller things that are smaller communities. But if we look at from the Zumba side or from the outside world, if it's not like up to par, if it's not looking perfect, then it's always going to be compared to Zumba, which everyone knows and loves for the success. So I think just trying to bring it up, because that's why I joined the master trainer team, because I feel like it has the most potential to grow out of any program, because there's a lot of people who want to work out, who want structure, who want to feel, you know, fit, and like they're getting their, you know, heart rate up, and they're working really hard. There's a huge demand for that. So I feel like Zumba, of course, is growing and is huge, but Strong is still, compared to Zumba or to other fitness programs, still has a lot of room to grow. So when someone's sitting on the couch or like scrolling through social media, if it's something new, it's going to attract their attention, and they're going to say, I want to teach that, or I want to go to that class. I think it has to look really appealing and really legit, because if it's just kind of like, meh, they're going to be like, oh, well, that's like Zumba. They just tried to create a hit intensity program, but good try. You know,
In my head, there's no way that I can see a person teaching Strong Nation, and because they don't do it like a ninja, that I'm going to think, oh, that looks like Zumba, because there's no dancing whatsoever. So
right.
how can it be even compared to Zumba moves or to a Zumba class? It's a HIIT class. And if I'm taking a HIIT class and I'm having a great workout myself, who cares if the instructor looks like a ninja or not? So it has always been in my head. Why are these people in Strong Nation so obsessed with trying to look like a proper martial artist? There's no need for that. So it's more like a paranoia, like the paranoia we used to have when we launched Aqua Zumba, that we wanted respect from the Aqua Fitness world, and that we wanted to have perfect technique or like respectable technique, so that nobody would talk crap about us. So it's more of a paranoia. Is that what I'm understanding happens with this technique?
Well, I need to get signed off for, like, that's when I'm like writing Ivy, like, what's the passing percentage of master trainers who become a master trainer and actually get to teach trainings? Because I honestly, like, I love the program and I'm really passionate, and I think I can bring my, you know, presenter like hat to it, and I think I can present it well, even if I don't have a black belt. But I also think that there's like there's a standard, you know, there's you know, kind of like a quality that wants to be portrayed from Strong. So I'll let you know once I'm signed off. But for now, I'm like, I want it to look like I have some idea of what a cross punch looks like, so that when somebody does it, they do it safely, they do it effectively, and they can get benefit from it.
I am sure people are gonna do it safely following you, even if you don't look like a ninja. But anyways, that's a lot of stress to add to your life, to have to try to look like a martial artist. Like, dude, you're never going to reach that point unless you practice martial arts throughout your life. But if you're totally new to it, like, no, that's not going to happen. And then whoever is the leader should know that that's not something to expect from the master trainers. They can be amazing master trainers without having to look like they have been in martial arts.
And that's what's beautiful about the program is there's different ways for everyone to shine. Like, I think I can bring something maybe from the mobility aspect, or because there's a lot of mobility in it. There's a lot of like even just fitness moves. There's a lot of, squats, lunges, push-ups that are not martial arts. It's a very small percentage of the program that is martial arts. But yeah, those are the moments that look the coolest on Instagram. And, if you have a thumb sticking up in a karate, like shutso, and, if you were actually going to tap somebody and they tap your thumb and you break your thumb, then that's where it looks not so cool.
So
like
I saw
details.
you posting videos with Sandrine. Was it that you were training with her, taking her trainings, or like why were you with her?
So Sandrine is the master trainer in Paris. She lives in France. She's been the master trainer for the last couple of years for the entire France, with Sarah, who's changing life class. So that's how the opportunity came up, was that she was going to focus on Paris and the north of France, and they were hiring someone for the south of France. So if I was in her space, I would say, wow, whoever they hire better be this, better, respect, better follow what I've already set up, just to, make it continue the legacy that I've started. So to be respectful to her, and also to like understand the program and understand where the market is in France, I decided to get myself on a train, go spend a couple of days in Paris and just learn from her. And yeah, she's amazing. She's so good. And she's so particular, but also very patient, and just helping me. Like, it's like, like little things, like I might say like enfant, but it's une enfant, like the masculine, feminine, and like little touches. So she's helping me to, of course, like continue her legacy, because she's been a master trainer for a few years. So just to help her grow instead of seeing it as competition, because I want her to do well in the north, I want to do well in the south, and the only way we can grow the program is to, I think, work together. So yeah, so I wanted to go and hang out with her, and of course create really cool content with her, and like ask her about a few moves, and just like being in front of a mirror and like face to face is so much for me easier than watching a video or streaming something, or watching a playback. So yeah, I took advantage. I'm 2 hours away. Like, let's make it happen.
So what's going to happen with Richard Gormley at Zumba conventions from now on? Because I have a little resenting feeling towards Strong Nation, because every time they take one of my AquaZest, because I still consider them mine, even though I'm no longer the leader of the program, they pretty much disappeared. And we never see them again, because the master trainers have a different schedule at ZinCon, and they train like maniacs to perform at the kickoff session for 3 minutes. So they don't sleep or eat or talk for like a whole week. They're just like training to do that badass performance, which is amazing. But anyway, because of that, we don't get to see them. We cannot count on them. They are always having to support their leader at the trainings at convention, so they cannot show up to other events. They cannot help other sessions as before. So I've lost like 3 or 4 acquisitions already, or 5. So what's going to happen with Richard?
Well, of course, Aqua is my baby, my original. And, if I had only one kidney, you were going to get it in the Zumba world. Keep that on the record. But yeah, to me, that sounds fun. Like, I don't know, like sprinting around and like, getting up at 5 a.m. to do a rehearsal. I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm ready for something new. And I feel like if I don't have something new, it's like, well, I could just go hang by the pool and watch another class or jump in the pool, which I love. But like, I'm like, I want a new challenge. And right now in the aqua world, I love it. And of course, it's still challenging and exciting. But I want something different and something new. So I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give it a try. So
in few
like
words,
said,
you're telling me I shouldn't count on you for ZinCon 2025, because you're going to be totally involved with Strong Nation because you want something different. Is that what you're telling me?
That is putting words into my mouth, Maria Browning.
That's pretty much what I just heard you say.
No, I'm gonna balance. I'm gonna choose like I always do. Just I effectively probably won't be from dusk till dawn at the pool like I usually am.
And that's
But
exactly my point.
I will be at your session.
How do you think you became the Aquaman? Because you were always there for everybody. You have been a key part of I don't know, everybody's successes at Zumba convention. You're always supporting all of the presenters at all of the sessions, and you're a big attraction. I mean, you are the Mickey Mouse in the Aqua Zumba world. So people come to the pool because they know they're going to get a little bit of Mickey Mouse, Richard Gormley in whoever session they were able to register for. So that's what I mean. Maybe I just wanted to bring it to your attention that I know how things go after an AquaZest becomes a master trainer. So maybe just be a little bit more aware during convention that,
Well,
or
the
maybe
good news
just set
is,
your boundaries with your leaders from now and say, sorry, but Zumba convention means Richard has to be by the pool. So
yeah. Well, I'm not there yet, but I do wanna add, like I wanted to add without taking away from whatever I want to do. I want to bring more strong, bring more intensity, bring more like what we get from strong, the science side of it, and bring it to Aqua Zumba. Like I don't want it to take away from what I do, but yeah, it's going to be a balancing act. So I'm counting on you to keep me accountable to my blue team and to my AquaZest colleagues.
So you have 6 months of teaching strong trainings to get the habit going, get it in autopilot in a way that it doesn't take any time from you. And then if we get you back full time in Aqua Zumba and in
You
Aqua
got it.
Fitness, because you have your in-water fitness program, so you cannot slack with that. You have been very consistent with your Aqua Fitness program that you have been having and working very hard and consistent for like what, 5 years? For how long have you been working at it?
Yeah, it's well, you had started together. It started as Aqua Masters when we were doing, so we had Aqua Zumba, and then we created a newsletter together with the AquaZest team of, yeah, we called it Aqua Masters, and Facebook groups and master classes and just seeing a continuation of it. So we did that. That was like from the beginning. So we were doing that, and then we were alternating, sending different newsletters and, like taking turns doing things. And then for like a year or two, it was like just me doing every newsletter and doing everything. So I was like, well, if I'm going to monetize this or if I'm going to invest in this, then I think I have to break off and do my own thing. So yeah, I created In Water Fitness. Well, I just paid the 6th year of the domain. So I guess I created it 6 years ago, but then I was waiting for it to be perfect. I was like, well, I need to like contact music artists and get licensing for music. And I need to be able to, like, I was trying to make it like like go in with the mindset that I was a big company like Zumba is. And then I realized, well, okay, to get one song for one license is thousands of dollars that I don't have. So I'm going to use YouTube. And on YouTube, you have to share the earnings with the artist. So the artist gets most, and then you get a small percentage. And so yeah, I started doing YouTube videos just to see what people were reacting to, responding to. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do like full choreographed or this or that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do one song. So I started doing YouTube videos of not Aqua Zumba, but just Aqua Fitness. Well, what if I do an Aqua Fitness song with a noodle? What if I do an Aqua Fitness song with some cross punches or like some boxing MMA elements? What if I do a more dancey one? So I was just experimenting with what works. And then I was thinking, okay, well, instead of having to write a whole domain and write an entire manual and, brand and license and, do whatever you need to do, what if I just keep doing one song? So I started doing one song, and then I started using a subscription service called Patreon, which is basically like a Facebook that people can pay to subscribe to. And then every week they get one new song. And then at the end of those 10 weeks, it makes class. So I do like a warm-up song and then an arm song and then a lower body song. And then depending on the edition, depending on the theme, by the end of the 10 weeks, it's a class. So I was just doing
How
that
much
week by
is
week.
the membership?
So it's $10 for now.
Okay. And these songs, you post them unlisted on your YouTube, or you post everything on Patreon?
Yeah, I post it unlisted on YouTube so I just post the like video. It integrates it into the system so that it becomes like part of the Patreon video.
Okay, so only the
because
members get access to those songs.
and that's what people ask. They're like, hey, I did Aqua Zumba. Now I want to make more money because I teach my Aqua Zumba class. And then after, how can I teach an Aqua Fitness class? And I'm like, well, go do a certification, go do another Aqua training. And then they go to the training and they're like, well, great. Now I have all this knowledge, but how do I get the choreography? How do I create a class? So that's actually what people want. And for like Zumba brains, it makes sense to do, okay, one song, 3 moves, alternate the moves, use the equipment or use the water. And then, yeah, just kind of, it's been going like that. So I'm working on my 10th edition now. So basically it's been like, it just did my 2-year anniversary in November. But yeah, I love how it's coming together.
And the way that you work with the copyrights is simply by, you can use any song and you just know that you're going to have to share the earnings on the views. But I will assume your videos don't get the thousands and thousands of views unless that's the number of members you have.
No, not yet. Not yet. But yeah, so maybe once in a while, like some people come back and be like, oh, I have to watch an ad sometimes. Like every 3 videos, I have to watch an ad. And I'm like, yeah, okay, it's a 10-second ad. But for me, it saves having to, work with artists or to be able to use, mainstream music. Otherwise, I could use just uncopyright doom ticka doom ticka doom music, but it's not as appealing to an actual audience.
Okay. But you have been able to use any music you want.
Yeah, exactly. Just through like revenue sharing on YouTube.
Oh, this is awesome. I never thought about it. Yes, of course, it makes sense.
How hard can it be?
I know, but it is not until somebody says it out loud that you're like, oh, I've always had this option. That's what you mean? I could have just, because we all think like, oh, copyrights, and we cannot post a song that we don't own the rights to the song on YouTube. And then I guess you could, you just receive the notification that the artist is claiming the money for it, right?
Exactly, yeah. And then it helps the artist because then the people go buy their song on iTunes or stream it, or I hope it helps the artist, because without them, I wouldn't have any choreos or classes at all.
I just think this is a new thing, new maybe in the last year or 2, and I didn't know, because yesterday when I posted our bonus Christmas choreography on our Instagram and Facebook, because I posted it separately on Facebook to make you a collab on your Facebook page, then I received a notification that there's an artist that's claiming the rights for your song, because of course I posted the whole song, Ave Maria. But then I started reading, and then that's what it says. It says that pretty much they were just letting me know, unless you have the copyrights, then click on dispute. But if you don't have the copyrights, then all the earnings are going to go to the artist. And I was thinking, what earnings? Do we earn money on Facebook? Do you earn money on Facebook?
I wish.
I know, right? I would say, what earnings? Well, good for the artist if at least somebody can make some money out of this video.
David Bisbal is making money off of Maria Browning's Instagram
My
following.
Facebook. Yeah. I've never heard of such thing, monetizing on Facebook. I used to monetize on Instagram when we used to receive the bonus, but they don't do the bonus anymore, right? Or am I wrong?
I never monetized on Instagram, so you're the expert.
Okay, so you're worse than me. Okay, so yes, I used to make very good amounts monthly. And back in the day when my videos were like almost 1 million views every single video, it was amazing. So yes, those were the good times in Instagram. But then they stopped giving bonus. That was like 3 years ago. And I don't think somebody told me that they are back paying for the bonus. And I'm like, teach me how. But
you got to get on
to
that.
figure out how. Yes. And the
Use
other
that blue
is
check.
TikTok. With TikTok, you can monetize, but it's like the cent of the per view. So you have a video with, I don't know, 100,000 views, and then you get paid $20. I mean, I'm not being ungrateful. $30. Yes, okay, thank you, awesome. But I am not that active in TikTok. It stresses me out, actually. So I haven't been posting on TikTok. But I do know you can monetize on TikTok. Little bit, but you could. But I never heard of Facebook monetizing. So when I posted our video, I was like, wait, what? There's an option to monetize on Facebook? What am I missing? Somebody teach me.
Get on that. Yeah, get on it.
Yes, we need to learn. Are you monetizing on YouTube?
Yeah, but most of the songs are copyright to the artist. But I get like every 6 months, maybe like $60 to my account or my AdSense. But on YouTube, you can with because I have a lot of tutorials where I'm just talking, and then I post those like, I don't know, with hand positions you can use an Aqua Zumba, and those have gotten a lot of views. I mean, like 10,000. So yeah, I got like $60 every 6 months or something. So it's not great, but if you have if you have many viral videos, I assume it would be great.
This is as far as your in-water fitness. Now, tell me about this yoga retreat that you have been teaching. For how many years you guys have been offering this retreat?
We're going to Mexico in February, and this is our fifth one that we've organized.
And you do it once a year?
So yeah, well, we work with like individual studios, and sometimes they do more of the leadership and the organization. But the last like 3-4, we've done all just my husband and I. And yeah, it's really fun. Like, it's really like kind of stressful. Like it's like I don't sleep for that week, or like I don't like exhale until everyone's flight has landed and they're in their designated taxi. But yeah, it's just really, really like a new market, because you get to know people on a more relaxed setting than like a convention or a
But it's
class.
only because it's a smaller group. How many people do you guys take?
We've had 25. And for me, like 15 is a good number. Like 25 is great, but then you have 2-3 different subgroups, and then, people kind of branch off and do their own thing. I love, like 12 to 15 for me is full, but not like overcharged. I really like smaller, especially for yoga and meditation and things that are a little bit more intimate.
You find that a better experience for everybody, that everybody's hanging out together, doing all the activities together?
Yeah, that's the number one thing that I've learned, is that people who are looking to go on like a yoga retreat are looking to do something good for their body, but also do it with other people. Like, they go for the group, they go for the community aspect of it.
Okay, but what if I want to join your yoga retreat, which, by the way, I know I'm not allowed because it's only for gay men. Just everybody listening, if you thought, I'm going to join Richard's retreat, Richard and I are going to plan one retreat together so that we welcome you
the goal.
and me. That's right. And we're going to plan it for probably towards the end of 2025. And we're debating whether Ibiza or Costa Rica. So you guys let us know where you want it.
Comment below where you want to go.
Exactly. Let us know where you want to go. But I've never organized a retreat, so this is awesome that you have had enough experience for you to know how it better works for you and for your liking and for the kind of experience you want to deliver. I didn't know that you prefer a smaller group. So in my case, let's say I join your yoga retreat, and then I am an introvert. I don't want to hang out with everybody all the time. I mean, during classes is fine, but the rest of other activities, I want to do it on my own or with my boyfriend. So, like, why would you force me?
It's honestly the first retreats that we did, okay, like wake up at 6:30, practice from like 7 to 9, then have breakfast together, then go back to the studio, practice some more, then have lunch, then go back to the studio and do a workshop. Like, we had them so structured. And now the best ones are when we do like one good practice in the morning and we give people free time. So if they feel like they need a day to journal or stay in, or some people bring their laptops and work because they feel like, I'm most inspired and I'm going to write a chapter of my book, or I'm going to, pitch a proposal that I'm going to send to my boss. So whatever people want to do in those, like the whole day, some people do want to like hang out in the kitchen and talk. Other people want to go to the beach and explore. And some people want to like work or just be without their kids or without their commitments. So it's so many people have different expectations. So I've learned, like, because it's like a retreat setting is also mostly a vacation setting. So providing enough structure and ideas and activities, but also giving people time to just relax, because we never get to do it. So that's what I've learned, is like letting you have your introvert time, letting other people go.
You. I appreciate it. So if this is a yoga retreat, does it mean that all of the activities you guys offer is yoga related?
So it depends on the location, because what we like to do is use like the things that go on at the place. Like in Costa Rica, it's like a rainforest with like macaws flying by and sloths in the forest and monkeys everywhere. So it's like a shame to like just stay in the yoga studio the whole time. So we try to organize like hikes, or we go like, maybe zip lining, or have extra propositions And then also try to like tie it into the yoga aspect. So in Mexico right now, if anyone has any connections, I'm trying to find someone who will do like a sacred cacao ceremony for us. And I've done it before. I have a good connection and contact where I can get cacao and chocolate, and I don't mind doing it. But like if I can get like a Mexican shaman to do it like in a traditional way, would be much more authentic and cool. So we always try to like network and get to know people. That's why we like to go back to the same places a lot, because then we have connections, or we meet people through the venues or just walking by, and we're able to bring in, if people want to book a massage, then it's with someone who aligns to what we do. Then just have like, oh, okay, there's like a spa down the street, like good luck.
On that note, aligning with what you guys want to do or who you are, because I know that you told me that you receive applications. It's not like anyone can register for your retreat. You receive the applications and they go through a process and you don't approve everybody. So this is very unique. Are there a lot of people doing this, or you just decided to do it this way to make sure that the experience is better for everybody?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned earlier, we had our first few ones where we had like 25 people, and we had 25 people and they were great, but a lot of the 25 people left with different like feelings because they didn't get what they wanted out of it. And we left with feeling like, oh, that person left us feeling uncomfortable, or didn't pay their bar tab, or just like we didn't have a good experience. So what I do is I either hop on a call, or like I have a Google Doc where I have people apply and I ask them their intention and what they want to get out of it. And then I'm just honest. And I say, hey, this is what you said you wanted to get out of a week. And this is what we offer. So if this is your goal and we're offering something completely different from what you're trying to achieve from investing your time and energy and money into this, don't you think it would be a better option to find something that aligns with what you want to do? So just having a little integrity and honesty, I've noticed helps create a group of this upcoming one is a men's only retreat, but a like-minded group.
Conclusion? Do you make them fill out a questionnaire, or do they go through an interview process, or how's this?
Yeah, just we say like, hey, here's our next retreat. If you're interested, fill out this Google Doc, and then they fill it out, and then we just get back to them, and we try to we make it a conversation. We're not like, oh, you're not a good match. Like we try to be as inclusive as possible, but we just tell people like, hey, this is, if you want to have a romantic week with your partner, then maybe you should go on a couples retreat, or maybe we'll do a couples retreat in the future, but like maybe be open to do group practices and like participate in yoga, because some people are like, oh, I just want a vacation, I don't think I'll do any of the yoga. Well, okay, don't come to a yoga retreat.
Are we gonna do the same for our retreat?
I would love to, like, just so people know what they're gonna get. Of course, the first time you do something, you have to cast a wide net. And then with a men's retreat, it's a little bit more niche. So I think if you and I did something, I have so many ideas, but if you and I did something, I think we could do something that would really apply to the people who already follow you, or who follow us, who love the programs we teach, who want to go further in discussions with themselves, with you, with others. So I think there's a lot of potential for
how if we make it a couples retreat. I like the couples retreat idea.
The thing about couples is there's always one person who's really into it and the other one who's like being dragged along, and like, you're going to pay big time for this. And I get to choose the next 5 vacations, and you're going to stay with my mother-in-laws. And like, so.
True that.
So that's the thing. But who knows? Then at least when you get one registration, you get two.
Maybe since we're going to interview them, we're going to make sure that all the couples, both of them, align with all of the activities. Oof, that's going to, I got tired just to think about this interviewing process. That's going to take us forever.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad. It's just a Google Doc. And then if you have a doubt, you just like stalk them on Instagram or Facebook and
to see what they are really into. See if they're online, if their spouse is lying for them.
I often invite them to my class. I'm like, hey, this is what I do. I have an online class this day. Come check it out. And like, or if it was a Zumba thing, I could say, here's a pre-recorded class. See if it's something you'd like to do live in person. Like let them make the decision then. Because when it's you making the decision, it's too much power. It's too much to carry, I think.
Yeah, true that. Understanding your 2024. What has been the biggest struggle of the year for you?
Biggest struggle is wanting to travel and do a lot out things, but doing the responsible thing and making a lot of the times, I don't want to say sacrifice, but making the decision to be more local and available to be taxi. So it's not a regret. It's not a like I don't resent it, but it's like when I see like all live events coming back and people going on tour and just markets lighting up, that I could be like, wow, if I posted a training there, it would sell out. And I totally could, but if no one's here on Thursday night, then who's going to pick up Dillian from judo lessons? So having that, the double-edged sword, that paradox of loving where I am now and being present at home, but also wanting to like be out in the world, like doing it, living it.
Is that about the responsibility of picking him up, dropping him off, taking him to bed, this and that? Because you could pay a babysitter to do that while you travel the world. Or is it more your mixed feelings about, I truly love being a dad and I don't want to miss taking him to judo every single practice. I don't want to miss seeing him. But at the same time, I want to have this other life. But is it more that, like, mixed feelings?
Yeah, it's like a little bit of guilt. Like I would feel guilty, like, because I know when Daniele leaves and he gets he's going to perform this weekend. So tomorrow he'll leave for like 5 days. And 5 days is no problem. I can do 5 days and it's great. But on that like 6th, 7th day, I'm like, every meal I have to make, every pickup and drop up I have to do. I'm like, when he gets back, I'm tired. And I'm like, wow, if I make him do that 3 weeks in a row, and just throws off the family dynamic, which takes a while to recover from. So it's just like the investment in time and making sure that the payoff is there.
Okay, got it. So you're trying to avoid making others feel in a way that maybe you are like taking advantage.
Exactly. Yeah. Just making sure that if I can give back and be the supportive like house dad and husband and take care of things, so that in June, for example, if I wanted to go on tour, then I know that, okay, maybe pass a couple trips that I might break even on and save it for, hey guys, these 3 weeks or these 2 weeks that I'm gone, letting you know a year before, but it's all you.
What have been the best 3 decisions you've made in 2024?
Best 3 decisions. You really should send us the questions in advance.
No, because I don't have these questions. These are questions I'm asking myself because the year is ending and I just thought about it today, like, I wonder if I were to do a recap. But it's not like I haven't even written it down for me. So take your time because I edit the time that you're thinking.
Do you have yours? Do you want to go first?
Okay, so my best 3 decisions. Number 1, decision to remove Nicholas from his comfort zone and getting him out of mommy's house. It has also been the biggest struggle of my 2024 as a mother. But it was the best decision, just to see him, how he's feeling now, his excitement for life, which he did not have before. It's obviously because he's feeling useful, he's feeling proud of himself because he's on his own, because he doesn't have his mom telling him all the time, what are you going to do with your life? When are you going to go to college? So anyway, it was the best decision, the hardest decision, but it was the best. That was one very good decision. Second, is starting the podcast. I am loving it. Loving it. I love having these conversations. I don't know if people are enjoying them as much as I do, or learning or absorbing, or but I am benefiting fully from each of my conversations. To me, they're awesome. At the end of each recording, I am so in love with each of my guests. And I just think about them for days as I am editing. I'm like ruminating on the things they said, and I challenge myself. Like, for example, Madele, I know this may sound so silly, but I had never heard someone explaining that dancing allows you to come back to your own body. To me, dancing has been performing. Maybe the programming I've been going through all my life, synchronized swimming, perform, smile, look pretty, do it perfect. So I've never danced just to feel my body. What is that? I have danced to deliver a perfect performance, to look good. So after my conversation with Madele, I remember I went to teach the B1 training that weekend, and I was like, I'm going to try being Madel. Dude, I enjoyed dancing that day so much. And I don't know, it may be a coincidence, but we're used to the same kind of feedback from our new instructors during the training. They're like, oh my God, you're so knowledgeable, you're so inclusive, you made me feel comfortable, you made me feel so loved, you made me feel empowered, you made me feel confident. Those are usually the things that I get, the comments I get from my instructors. In that training in particular, everybody was like, wow, the master class was the best part of the training. And I was like, the master class? Because it's usually my teachings, my talking, my knowledge, my encouraging, blah, blah, blah. The master class. And I'm like, I wonder if it is because for the first time, I came home to my own body,
Wow.
dancing, fully feeling my body. So see, all these things, I don't know if people are taking it to this level, but after every conversation, I just ruminate so much on our awesome engagement that I apply new things to my life just to test, just to see how it feels, how it goes. And it's been so beautiful. So it's totally worth it being so uncomfortable and being willing to put yourself out there, knowing that you may not be doing it perfect, but it's totally worth it. So that's another amazing decision. Let me think if I can think of a third one that is third decision, best decision of the year. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm doing another one, but this one is very hard. I enrolled in a finance seminar. I've decided that I'm going to learn how to invest in the stock market. And this is fighting my own demons, my own fears, thinking that my little voices telling me, you're dumb. What are you doing? You're never going to get this. You're never going to understand these numbers. You're never going to understand these graphics. They're like the fear of facing your own finances. And yeah, so it's a lot. It's overwhelming. So I've been doing it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And it's going to go on for a whole year of daily studying. So this is a new commitment that I am embarking on every day. So it's every day feeling, no, you're not dumb. You're going to get it. At some point, you're going to get it. And I just remind myself, okay, when I started with Zumba, I didn't know what to do. I used to suck at it. I had never taught a fitness class in my life. And eventually you get it. So I just have to keep practicing and listening to the teacher and like doing so. Yeah, that's a new venture but I believe this is a very good decision for me because it's totally, absolutely out of comfort zone, 100%. It's kind of painful to go through it, but I know something good's going to come out of it. Whatever it is, it's going to come out. I'm going to be rich.
Totally.
Yes.
Yes. And then you're
Yes.
going to
Have
train
to
us
say it.
all how to become rich.
I don't think I'm ever going to be at the point of training others. I'm lucky if I understand it myself to teach it to others. But I will recommend the course and the teacher to all of you guys so that everybody can do it. But this is a lot of dedication. Okay. Did you think of your 3 best decisions?
Yeah, mine are not so deep, but I think this year I've tried putting myself out there more, like not being afraid. Like I can advertise, like if you're coming to my city or if I'm hosting you or if you're doing a training or if we're doing something together, I can like advertise, put it out there, like no problem. When it comes to like my own stuff, I'm always like, I just sent a newsletter last month. Do you think people are gonna be bothered if I send another one a month later? Like I've just been like, you know what? They can unsubscribe. No worries. So I've just been not afraid well, I've been still afraid, but I've just been more pushing myself to put myself out there and to like
That
tell people
letting
like,
the
oh, by the way,
fear stop you.
exactly. Instead of like, hey, I don't want to bother you. Like instead of that approach, I'm like, hey, this is available to you and uh, subscribe or sign up or like having a call to action on more things. So without hopefully being too like flyer. I always feel like I'm selling something, but it's just because I'm so excited about the new things I'm doing that I want to share them with other people. So putting things out there and communicating, that's a
And
big one
just so
for
you
me.
know, every time I see you, because of course I follow you closely and I receive your newsletters as well. And I follow your posts on social media. I am always in awe at how you're always promoting for the amazing things that you have to offer. I've never seen it as, oh, there he goes again trying to sell another session. it never comes across that way. Perhaps because I understand where you come from, having to sell our sessions, and I am more in admiration of you. I think I usually reply to your newsletter saying the same thing. One day I want to be like you because you're really putting yourself out there. I agree. It's so admirable to see.
Thank you. Yeah. So that was this year.
Awesome. Okay, what other amazing decision you've made?
I don't know if it's like a, when someone's like brand new to exercise, they're like in that contemplation before like the pre-contemplation, and then they buy the shoes, and then they order the DVDs, and then they go to the gym, but then they sign up for the thing. So yeah, with my husband, we're looking to buy a house, and I've always been like, nope, I'm good renting. Like, no one in Miami buys, no one in New York buys. Like, it's totally normal to rent an apartment for your whole life. And then, just hearing of people like, oh, actually the owner wanted their place back, so they had to move, or, actually we have to be careful how much stuff we put on the walls, or if we want to change our floors, or if we want to, just do things like I'm coming out of the pre-contemplation, contemplation, we're visiting houses. And so this is like an exciting step for me.
This is amazing. I'm so happy for you. Yes, that's how it all starts. You gotta start getting excited about picturing your life in every single house that you visit and see where it fits perfect. Oh, this is beautiful. This is like having a child. I remember when I was in the process of visiting different properties, my realtor told me, Maria, you can only choose the property that when you open the door, you go, oh, I love my life. I love living here. Oh, thank God I live here. So he didn't let me pick because he noticed that I was in a rush, like, oh, this is so pretty. I want this. And he's like, but how do you feel coming home every day? And I'm so appreciative of that advice to make the right decision, because that's exactly how I feel every day when I open my door. And like, oh, thank God, this place is awesome. I love living here. So
I'm going to try that.
I hope you find, yes, and tell it to
the way I've been
Daniele.
doing it. The way I've been doing it with Daniele is that I do the same thing, but I say, if I can park my car there, then it's a match. And the other day we visited a place and I was like, okay, I'm going to come back with my car and see how it goes. And I could get in, but I couldn't get out. So I actually like scratched my car trying to get out with Tillian in the back seat, like, Dad, don't do it. Don't do it. So I was like, well, and he was like, okay, that's the one. Like, it's perfect. It's in our budget. It's close by. Everything's good. I'm like, yeah, but like, I can't get in or out. So don't have that feeling. How do
Yeah,
you
definitely
feel?
it's not gonna have it. Yeah. Well,
Embarrassed.
that's a more practical way to make a decision, because you definitely need to make sure you can get in and out. So on top of that decision, then also try mine, because it really feels amazing to get home every day and be like, I love this place. Oh, I'm so happy for you guys. Awesome. Okay, third decision.
Third decision. I think I'm gonna go with the master trainer thing. Like I'm really excited about the new challenge and doing what I already do, but taking it like a step out of my comfort zone and a step like, to me it feels like the next level. So I'm excited about doing Strong Nation and getting more involved with the program.
And to get back to me telling you, threatening you that if you get lost during the Rincon, you're gonna be in trouble, I take it back. If you need a break, if you need a break from having been the Aquaman for Aqua Zumba and being there for all of us for 1 year or for a couple of years, or for how long you need it to continue to evolve, I know you're always going to be Aqua Zumba, and your heart will always be, I'm going to cry. Even if I miss you every second of convention, your heart is going to be like that too. So I take it back. You have full freedom to explore and to grow in your new venture. I know you're going to love it and you're going to be amazing at it. And I'm very happy for you. I'm just being very protective, and I know I'm going to miss you bad. Hey.
I'm not going anywhere, and I'll still be at your session.
There you go. I'll just force you to be my guest on my podcast every 3 months so that we can update each other on everything. So I don't miss you.
Perfect.
That's even better. That's better. Okay, mi amor, I think this is a good note to finish since you made me cry. First time I cry on my own podcast. I made myself cry. So Thank you so much for this conversation, for allowing me to record it and to put it out there in the public for everybody to get to know you better, for contributing to my beautiful project of having this podcast, and for always being there for me and for being the amazing you that you are. Because just by talking to you, I feel like I get renewed and re-inspired and refilled with love just because that's what comes from you. Nothing but love. So thank you. I love you
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me. I support every project you do, no matter what. So keep it up and yeah, keep being fierce, brave, and just fantastic. I love you.
I love you, baby. Thank you so much. Okay, wait. So if people want to find you and register for your sessions, your trainings, your classes, Water Fitness, where do they find you?
Yeah, my Instagram is richard.go, and then I have links to all my other activities from there. And this will help me to get inwaterfitness.com looking sexy. So go visit the website and be really kind and patient.
Patient. Thank you, mi amor. Go hang out with your gorgeous husband and say hi to him.
Will do.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the whole conversation. Don't forget to click on follow or subscribe so that you can continue to receive notifications on my upcoming conversations on this podcast. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.